Good morning, everyone. It is time for Leaning In with Anne. This is a walk and talk that I do every Monday through Thursday. Usually I walk and I talk, but it's been rainy and soggy and yucky. And so instead, I just decided to do it here and walk as soon as I'm done. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are talking about forgiveness again. This is part 2 of the forgiveness piece of loving behavior. So we're going to keep going and kind of peel apart this forgiveness thing so that we can hit all of the nuances. So we're going to go into, what if somebody hurts somebody that you love? Like, how do you forgive that when it isn't something they did to you directly? That's where we're going today. So the loving behavior is be willing to forgive people for what they do or fail to do in anger or fear. Because that's usually why we do things that are hurtful. We're either afraid of something or we're angry about something. And that's why we do stuff. So we got to forgive people for what they do in fear and anger. But not so easy, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. Have any of you ever had anyone do something to a loved one that just really, really pissed you off? Like, angered you? Like, how dare they mess with your child, your spouse, your loved one, your friend? Have you ever, like, I don't want to forgive them, they don't deserve forgiveness, they're like totally messing with this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is a scenario that actually happened. This is a scenario that somebody told me as they were sitting outside of my house. So this mom really, really, really wants her child to have social interaction because he's kind of a loner. So they went to a soccer club. Their kid likes to play soccer. She thought that was good. Well, they went on a traveling thing, and there's 2 things that happened. One is that all of the other kids, they all got the same kind of housing or hotel or whatever, and this family wasn't told that that's where everybody was hanging out. And then there was some kind of party, and they weren't told. And this sweet mom doesn't want to feel bad. She doesn't want to feel angry. And yet, what the crap? Like, that's rude, right? But she's not supposed to feel rude, and she's going to be helpful because the woman is still in the soccer club, and she sees her on a regular basis, but she feels awkward, and she feels sad, and she doesn't know why that would happen. And, you know, all of the sadness and the rejection just keeps coming up and up and up. So, let me share with you one of the things that's happening. The word, I shouldn't feel this way, stops you from forgiving. Now that seems really weird, right? Because we're supposed to forgive and forget. We're supposed to let go. We're supposed to not be bothered by it anymore. That's what forgiveness is. But if you haven't been willing to feel and honor the right to feel what you're feeling, you cannot give it up. Because we're all trying to be seen, we're all trying to be heard, and we're all trying to be understood. So if you are not seen, if you are not heard, if you are not understood, it's like you can't give it up. It's like, but it's stuck. It's just right there. Now here's the thing. That family didn't even know how hurt she and her child were. There's no conversation, but she had to see her over and over and over again. That's a tricky, tricky situation because what do? I mean, do you go and then you kind of look like a whiner? You know? What if you say something and they didn't mean to, and then they feel really bad, and then it's awkward because somebody feels bad? Oh, I shouldn't make them feel bad, so I shouldn't say anything. How many of you ever done that? Done that. So how do we do this? Okay, step 1. Let's honor the fact that you're worried. So usually when there's somebody else that's been hurt, we are just really worried for them and we're sad for them. Instead of going, they are sad I witness their sadness. You don't have to do anything to fix the fact that they're sad, and they can handle it. Witnessing them and saying, you're really, really sad right now. That really sucks, babe. You have a right to be sad. I can see why being left out and excluded, it doesn't feel good, right? So giving permission for your kid to feel sad instead of this, oh, well, they just probably didn't know. They just didn't know. Let's just get over it. It's fine. That does not honor the experience of you, the experience of the other person, and we're going to hold on to it. So the first thing to do in any hurt that you have is you have to see you. You have to say, I feel hurt right now. I feel frustrated right now. I feel angry right now. I feel dismissed. I feel dishonored. I feel taken advantage of. I feel controlled. Allow yourself to feel whatever those emotions are. Step one. If you don't, you will remain stuck and you will not be able to forgive. For sure. Okay, the next thing that you've got to do is you have to say, is this what I would love to feel? Now, I know that's really, really weird. Is this what I would love to feel? Of course, it's not what you would love to feel, but you've got to say that because you get to make a choice in what to do next. Because to not feel hurt, sad, frustrated, angry, taken advantage of, controlled, all of those things, you have to be able to go, actually, I love myself enough not to feel that. I actually don't want this. Now, when you do that, you're not making it somebody else's job to fix. Well, that feels weird, right? Because isn't the person who did wrong supposed to take responsibility? Like, they're supposed to take responsibility to heal me and fix this and apologize. And if they don't, they're getting away with stuff. So I'm not going to let this go because they don't even know that they did wrong. And then they're just going to do it again and again and again and again. Right? Can you hear the thing in your head? All right, guys. We talked about this yesterday with parents and kids. No one is actually responsible for your healing except Christ. Nobody can. Okay, let's do this again. Has anybody ever been apologized to? Somebody's taken responsibility for their stuff and it didn't help at all? It's because the person who does something to you is not the one who can heal you. So I'm going to say that again. The person who did something to you is not the one who can heal you. The person who did something to your kid is not the one who can heal him. The person who did something to your husband is not the one who can heal him. Ever. That is such a outside of our realm of understanding because, like I said yesterday, propriety says what we're supposed to do is you take responsibility for what you're doing to make that better. It doesn't happen. So I know a lot of situations where people go, yeah, but I mean, they don't deserve to be let off the hook. And guess what? You are absolutely right. Sometimes people do not deserve, like their behavior is so mean and so nasty and so awful. It's like they don't deserve to just be let go. That is true. My question for you is this. Do you deserve to be let off the hook? Because when somebody causes you pain, do you deserve to be in pain? Yes, you do. Not do you deserve to be in pain. Do you deserve what they did? No. Do you deserve to go, that hurt me. I am in pain right now. Absolutely. It's okay that when somebody does something that mistreats you or your child, your anger, that is totally acceptable. However, we need to say, what do I want? Now, the reason why we say that is two reasons. One, God, I don't know how to forgive. I honestly do not know how. But it's not serving me to hold on. It doesn't serve me. What I want is for them to acknowledge what they did and make it right. And I can't control them. And I don't want this pain anymore. And I can blame them for not doing it, or I could allow you to heal me. Forgiveness is actually about you allowing yourself to be healed. That has to happen, that conversation, that willingness to be forgiving. Willingness to forgive. It is not an event, it is a process. But you have to be willing to say, I'm willing to live life without this pain. I'm willing to live life without blaming them for the fact that I'm a human and I'm kind of rocking my humanness, and certain humans do certain things to other humans and it hurts. And that makes me even more human, and I'm rocking being human and I'm blaming them. Yeah, letting that go. Now, when you go, what would I love? The reason why that matters is because when you choose what you would love, now you can choose what you do. So, I would love to not ever have to deal with this again. Like, I don't want to go through the process. I don't want to ever deal with this again. If that is truly what you would love, then you take your kid out of the soccer club. Or this is where you can go and have a conversation without being over emotional. If you don't have any blame on them because you've already been healed by the things that Christ has done for you, because you've said, hey, Christ, help me with my feeling. Then when you go, you say, hey, can we have a conversation real quick? And you can actually feel love towards the person instead of making them responsible or blame. How many of you have ever felt blamed and it's this like massive like protective armor goes up the minute you realize you're being blamed? Like defensiveness is what happens. And I don't know about you, but when somebody's blaming me, I have a really hard time saying you're right. I have a really hard, like all the defensiveness comes up. And so taking care of your emotions and going, yep, I'm going to let Christ do this, and I'm going to see them as a human who didn't realize they were having impact on my kid. They just didn't know. And I'm going to go to them and I'm going to say, okay, I don't want this to happen again. So can I have a conversation with you for a minute? I think something happened and I don't think you knew, or there may be a reason that I don't know that this whole thing went down. So I'm wondering, are you open to a conversation? So next step is to ask if they're open. This is the reason, is because they don't know that it's okay for them to feel what they're feeling. And so they blame other people for making them feel because it was wrong for them to feel. It's not wrong for them to feel. If they are feeling upset and you had some kind of impact in their feeling upset, totally good. It's like, yep, I had impact and I can take responsibility for that part of it. I'm not to blame for your pain. That is what you chose to feel. That's not being cold. You don't have to say it that way, but in your own brain, that's what you need to say. This one actually isn't mine. I see that you're upset. I see that what I said caused some upset, and I'm curious what that was, because what I said or what I did isn't and wasn't mean. It's how you interpreted it, and I'm just curious as to why. So if you're going and having a conversation with, say, the parent, and say, I'm not exactly sure if this was intentional, if this wasn't intentional, but something happened, and I just want to make sure it doesn't happen again, or, if there's something I need to be aware of so it doesn't happen again, I would just love to have a conversation. Ask for the opening, because when you ask for opening now, people are not defensive. So my cousin did this one day. It was fabulous. We had gone to Orlando, Florida, and the rental car place didn't have any cars for us. And we landed at 11 o'clock at night, and there was a line of all of these people. No one at the desk, no cars anywhere. We got a shuttle, went to our hotel, and then decided to deal with this in the morning. When we came in the morning, this poor manager, oh my gosh, she woke up to a hot bee's hive of pissosity, like everybody. And so when we went up and talked to her, it wasn't the lady at the desk. We had called to find out who the manager on duty was, because we knew that's who we actually needed to talk to. It was brilliant what my cousin did. She said, because you could tell defenses were already up. And she said, hey, listen, by the time we're done with this, you and I are going to be friends. But I really need you to hear me about what happened and what I would love, so that we can come to some kind of agreement about whether or not you can do that for me. Are you okay doing that? Because the woman was already defensive and shut down and was trying to tell us what we needed and what she could do, and she hadn't even heard anything. That was so brilliant. Hey, by the way, I want to have a conversation with you. You and I are going to be friends by the end of this. But I'm going to ask that you hear me all the way through. And I promise I'm going to hear you all the way through. And we're going to figure a thing out. Can you imagine going to a soccer mom and saying, hey, something happened and I'm kind of nervous about it. Something happened with my son when you guys had a party, and I need to talk about it so that it doesn't kind of happen again. Now, I totally believe that you and I are going to be friends by the time we're done. I just want to know, is it okay if I share everything that went down, and then I'll hear everything that you have to say, and then we'll kind of figure out what to do from there? How does that sound? Guys, is that not so good on how to resolve some of that? Because one thing you've got to remember is the things that you're learning as we walk and talk and do this are in an emotional maturity plane. And most of the people, they are actually operating on emotional immaturity. And so they don't even know this language or this way that you're talking. And so you've got to be kind and say, I know this is really strange. However, I really need to fix this, and I would rather us be friends as we fix it instead of enemies. What do you think? The only way you can do that is if you have already been healed by the Savior, by the Redeemer, by the Healer, by the one who can. Because why? He's really, really emotionally mature. And he did this thing in this garden where, like, he took on all of the negative energies and every experience you've ever had. And he answered it with love and therefore remained perfect. Did you know that that's how that went down? Every single negative experience and emotion, we all know that he experienced. But what I believe he did is used a triad of forgiveness, of unconditional love, and gratitude. Those three things are like magic. And he used those three things to answer every single situation you have ever been through. And do you know that he was one emotion, one lower vibration, negative emotion away from failing us? Just one. And he did not. He answered every single situation and hurt in love. It's beautiful, right? So I'm going to give you one last little rundown of what we just talked about. Number one, somebody else does something. Step one, honor that you're hurt. Honor that it sucks. Honor that you don't like the experience. Honor that you want something to be different. Honor that you're afraid that it's going to happen again. Honor it all. Number two, choose whether or not you want to keep all that stuff within you. Right? Keep it all. Step three, choose what you would love. Would you love to stay around that person? Would you love to never see them again? Would you love, you can't have them do anything for you. Okay? It's what would you love to feel? Would you love to feel safe when you go to soccer? Would you love to find somebody else where your kid can have some kind of experience? Doesn't matter what it is. You just say, what would I love? Now, you're going to honor the fact that whatever you love is totally okay to love. That is 100% okay for you to feel and experience. Yes. You have the right to love what you want. Ooh, I'm going to say that one again. Ready? You have the right to love what you want. So good. All right. And then the next thing is you decide, what does that look like? Turn it over to God and say, this is what I would love. And I don't know how to forgive. I don't know how to get over the hurt. I'm just willing not to be hurt. I don't want to shut it down and pretend like it's not there. And I also don't want to explode. And so I would love for you to do what is necessary in this. And then show me how to have a conversation or not. Do that. I hope that helps. We are going to continue with the forgiveness thing. We're going to take another little nuance of it and figure out how to forgive. Why? Because forgiveness heals you. You deserve happiness, fulfillment, freedom. You deserve love, acceptance. You deserve all of that. And no one has to ever acknowledge it for it to be true. But I believe that you cannot feel that if there's all this pain and anger and frustration. You're waiting for every single one on the face of this earth who has hurt you to acknowledge their wound or their hurt and come to you in humility and apology before you can feel better. You don't deserve that. You deserve to be happy now. All right, everybody, that is it. Igniting your belief. It gets you unstuck. It's really hard for me to tell you how because each one of you have a different mountain. You each have something different that you're trying to overcome or trying to figure out or trying to learn. And a lot of it is coming from things that you weren't taught as a child because we had a generation of parents who didn't know how to handle emotion. And as Brené Brown says, emotion is the driver. Your thoughts and your action, they're hogtied in the back. What you're actually feeling, whether you acknowledge that feeling or not, whether you know what that vocabulary is or not, it is the thing that's causing the problems or causing the joy. Emotions are the driver. You were never taught how to deal, handle, feel, express emotion appropriately. Ignite your belief that you can. Ignite your belief that God will. Ignite your belief in heaven's help. Ignite your belief in everything is going to be okay. And let me mentor you into that belief. That's what I would love. Have a really beautiful day. I'm going to go for a walk and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, all.